Bless you. This is the Reverend Dr. Gilberto Rosado. Dios lo bendiga. Este es Reverendo Dr. Gilberto Rosado. Welcoming you to another broadcast. At this hour, we have our bilingual broadcast, our teaching in English and Spanish. So we ask that you be patient as we translate live on the fly between languages. Esta es la hora que damos la enseñanza en inglés y español y pedimos que tengas pues paciencia mientras que traduzcamos de un idioma al otro. Aproveche y aprende el otro idioma. While we're at it, you can learn the other language as well. Es un beneficio de sintonizarse con nuestro ministerio. It's a benefit, an added benefit, I should add, of tuning in to our ministry. God bless you and welcome. Dios le bendiga y bienvenido a nuestro programa de hoy. Let me just make an adjustment here in the camera and get smooth throughout the week. A busy work week that we have. Dios le bendiga. Once again, God bless you and welcome to our Sunday teaching. We continue on our Holy Series. Nosotros continuamos nuestra serie de el significado o la definición actual del de la palabra Kodesh o santo. Esto es un estudio muy serio, pues puesto que la definición de Kodesh afecta mucho las cosas, ha afectado ya las cosas. The significance of this teaching is quite impacting. And it's already been impactful, actually, the meaning of holy, as we can see in the world. I remember many times, people ask, what makes your religion right, or your teachings the right teachings, the truth? What makes you think that your religion, for example, is better than the others? Ha habido muchas preguntas durante los años que he trastornado lo que es la fe, la vida en el Señor, la vida eclesiástica. Y muchos han preguntado, ¿qué hace que su enseñanza son verdades o verdad sobre los demás, su religión, la verdadera sobre los demás, etcétera, etcétera? Y hemos visto durante esta serie cómo ha afectado la palabra santo, que ha desarrollado este ambiente, ¿no? See, the word holy, it's interesting that the word holy has forged the reality we have in the world today, meaning all the different religions, all the different creeds, denominations, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, everything, all these other religions as well, Mormons and every little group there are, Hebrew this and Hebrew that. And then also the other thing, even the Church of Satan, todas esas iglesias que ha desarrollado creencia, fe, de organizaciones religiosas, hasta mismo iglesia de Satanás. Todo está rodeado o fundado en respuesta, en reacción a la palabra Kadosh o Kodesh. En la palabra holy, todo ha sido sobre esa palabra santo. See, so all these religions have been based on this word holy, and in many instances it had forged the religious beliefs. It has been an engine
And if you go to any of these churches, holy will come up. Well, they will come up as a reinforcement for their belief structure. Si tú vas a cualquier uno de estas iglesias o religiones, tarde o temprano va a salir la palabra santo como refuerzo, apoyo a algunas enseñanzas, algunas creencias, aún el templo, la iglesia de Satanás. Porque como quieren ser anti-bíblico, anti-Dios, entonces quieren ser anti-santo. Pero ¿qué es la definición de santo? Dice que el anti-santo está basado sobre la definición de santo. Aún. So you even have, all these churches based on these on the anti or perspectives on what holy, as holy was. They all take it the same. It's always, you can't question this because it's holy. It has been the loophole for many religious ideas, and also even a basis of repudiation or refusal or rebuttal in support of the Church of Satan. So again, they want the unholy thing, so they pray for the unholy. But how can you have unholy? What do you mean unholy? Opposite the traditional meaning of holy? Well, what's the holiness? What's their definition? It's the same one. You see, it's based on the definition of what holy is in the Bible and what has been traditionally held. So you have to understand that if the word holy has a different meaning, then everybody's rug is pulled. Si la definición, significado real de santo es diferente, entonces todo el mundo ha tenido la carpeta al lado, debajo de sus pies, aún la iglesia de Satanás. You see? So, what didn't Satan tell you? A ver, Satanás no te dijo, no te contó. So again, deception, right? La decepción que hemos cubierto muchas veces antes de empezar el serie de Santo. Estábamos hablando de lo que era la decepción. Before we had started on the Holy series, we had talked about deception. There's a few videos on the YouTube channel that you can go see this, and you see deception. What is deception? And I go through it in great detail. Yo doy unas clases antes de empezar la serie de Santos sobre la decepción y doy el detalle muy detalladamente que está involucrado en la decepción. Mucha gente se dejan se deja engañar, lo que es el engaño, y la gente se prestan al engaño. So there's a lot of people who allow themselves to be fooled. They are looking to be fooled because they accept premises and they do not accept the precepts of God. Y no acepta entonces los preceptos de Dios como para amortiguar las decepciones del enemigo. They don't use the precepts of God to stave off the deceptions of the enemy. So you're easily duped. And there's things that are so clear, so clear, that you should not be fooled by them at all. It's just the time, day, and age. Somebody gets hit in the head with a stone, then they say they're hearing God's voice. Stay away. Come on. It's enough that person got hit with a stone. You have to be a little more smarter than that. Es suficiente a una persona que se le da en la cabeza con una piedra y después entonces tiene revelaciones de Dios, tú tienes que tener más cabeza que lo que tuvo la persona después que le dio la piedra en la cabeza. Es ridículo, es como, el enemigo está sentado ahí riéndose de ti y de ustedes. The devil's sitting back watching y'all following someone that got hit in the head with a stone. And, he's laughing. He's being got hit in the head with a stone. And you guys are following like ridiculous. I mean, who's the one that got hit in the head? You think that everyone else got hit in the head with a stone? Complete with the unfulfilled prophecy. Totalmente completado con profecía no cumplida. Ya. That's it. End the story. The prophecy wasn't fulfilled. That's it. Walk. That's it. No more discussion. Absolutely not. Because everything else is deceptive. And in a sense, why bother talking with people who are already show that they're willing to follow someone that had a hole in the head, for goodness sakes. ¿Por qué hablar con personas, tratar de convencerlos si están siguiendo una persona que tuvo una piedra, un hueco en la cabeza? Entonces, ¿quién tiene hueco en la cabeza? Que usted se siente como decir como en un espíritu familiar con esa persona, ese profeta o profetiza. Usted se siente cómodo. Entonces alguien tiene que chequearse la cabeza. Eso es perdón, pero es la franca verdad razonable. Uno tiene que tener razón. Primeramente, yo brego con mucha gente que no tienen razón. Y yo he visto muchos casos, mucho. Believe me, hay mucha gente que no tienen razón. Y hacen las cosas pura emoción. Si es que tienen algún, estabilidad mental, es emocional. Están inestables emocionalmente, para no decir que son locos. You got a lot of people. I'm a psychotherapist, so I see them. That they are not dealing with reason. And they are walking only on emotion to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're still holding on to some sense. That they're more emotional than rational. So giving them the benefit of the doubt, and emotion is not stable. So it's instability in any sense of the word. But not to call them outright crazy, but you're borderline. And there's so many people who live their lives day to day on that edge. It's incredible the amount of people once you know what you're looking at. So again, what are you going to communicate based on reason? Very little. So, ¿qué va a comunicar basado en razón? Muy poquito. Y por eso las falsas religiones tienen buena ventaja, apogeo con esa gente. This is why the false religions have great impact on large swaths of people, because these people are unstable. They are not based on reason. And so as long as they can connect in some way, or even frighten them, scare them in their limited understanding, they have a little bit of understanding. Oh, God said, are you following what God said? Well, look what God said here. See? So you can convince anyone who is not knowledgeable with fear. Fear is used against people who don't know. And the people who are preaching fear, because you can check it yourself. Are you preaching fear? Because if you are, that means that you are yourself believing because of fear. And fear only comes when there's lack of knowledge. So again, you that's a one indication that you have been deceived when you have lack of knowledge, and now you're using fear as a way to reach people. That's now the second thing, right? Because you have lack of knowledge, and then you use fear, and the fear was used against you, or fear was used to make you into, bring you into that religion. The saw thing. Hello, wake up. You just have to admit what is the truth. Ya, la gente han usado el temor. El temor, cuando tú tienes temor o se está usando temor, es solamente a personas que no tienen capacidad, no tienen conocimiento. Y cuando no hay conocimiento, pues entonces el temor trabaja, es efectivo. Pero el problema es que si usted no reconozca que usted está predicando temor, pues entonces tú estás alcanzando personas que no tienen capacidad, o sea, que no tienen entendimiento, porque el temor alcanza a esa persona. Pero lo más problemático debe ser, pues entonces yo también vine a creer lo que creo basado en el temor, porque así me predicaron a mí, así me avisaron. Ustedes no están obedeciendo a Jehová Dios, ustedes están en pecado. Right? So, eso es, again, el uso, una táctica de like this Jim Jones, right? Poisoning the people, right? And then you got guys like in Kenya where, oh, we gotta fast till we die, fast till you die and meet Jesus. You know, the people like the caca. They love it. And that's what's going on. So don't tell me about, oh, my church is full or that church is full, that there's so many people watching this because they're watching doo-doo. And if you're a Christian and you're looking at numbers as an indication, oh my goodness, that this is the problem. El problema es eso, que la gente está mirando números. Lo que tienen que mirar es calidad. Pero como no saben qué es la calidad, eso es lo que pasa. Calidad para el mosca es mierda para nosotros. So, you know, people don't know. You can't go by numbers. You have to go by quality. But unfortunately, for many people, doo-doo is quality. It's like the flies, right? The fly, this is quality food here, yo. I don't know what you're talking about, Pastor Rosado. This is good food, man. This is nice. Okay. It's what's the level? What is your level? So again, I'm challenging you guys to progress, to move on up. Le estoy desafiando que se mueven para arriba, que dejan ya la porquería, deja ya el fango ya y empiezan a saborear lo que es bueno, lo que es calidad, lo que es la verdad, porque de eso es lo que estamos hablando. I'm moving you guys, pushing you guys so you guys can begin to appreciate what is quality, what is good, what is the truth, because that's the whole point of it. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Jesus said it to Jews. What does that mean? They didn't know the truth. That's what that means. Let's go to the Hebrew context, won't we? Vámonos al contexto hebreo, lo que dijo Jesús. Y conocerás la verdad, y la verdad os hará libre. ¿A quién está hablando Jesús? A los judíos. Estaba hablando a los judíos. Vamos a hablar. Quiere decir que no tenían la verdad. All right. Pero hebreo, contexto hebreo. Se fue todo ajuste, todo Judá, Israel, y todavía que con el contexto hebreo. La semana pasada hicimos la enseñanza y al fin fue que le tiré con la cosa del contexto hebreo, porque el contexto hebreo, ¿qué bien hizo a Israel y Judá? ¿Qué? You know, so you gotta look at that. Llegó Jesús, nadie lo conocía, entonces, you know, so, you know, you have the Hebrew context. It's all fine and dandy. It has its place. But how did it help Israel and Judah? Go ahead, I'm listening. How did it help them? Because they were all done. And then, when Jesus came, did they know him? Did they know Yeshua, the Mashiach? Did they recognize him? Hebrew context, though. Go figure. And all of that. And just the other day, you just thought of it, you have all these people, you got to say that it's Yeshua, there's no Jesus, it wasn't Jesus, Yeshua. What was the name they wrote down in the New Testament? The Jewish believers, what name did they write down? Because these weren't Gentiles writing. What name did they put down there? Okay. So that's that. They used the New Testament is written in Greek, ladies and gentlemen. It was in Greek and Hebrew. El Nuevo Testamento está escrito en griego, no está escrito en griego y hebreo. En griego. So that's the bottom line. So el nombre de Yeshua no existe en griego. They used the Greek name. That's it. The point is that you're talking about one person here, right? That's the point. Pero quieren hacer la distinción, but they want to make a distinction. We're using the original, his Hebrew name, just to claim distinction, to then start their deception. And the people who are easily duped by that are the ones that are keen to being fooled and duped. And that's, you got another religion going on, or you got more and more people going into XYZ belief, or Hebrew this and Hebrew that, because again, they're easy prey. And there's more of them than there are of us. So hay más gente que son susceptibles a esos engaños que nosotros que conocemos. Y yo no es por falta de enseñanza, porque yo estoy enseñando, pero ¿cuántos quieren sentarse aquí por 2 horas? You know, so I'm teaching. It's not that I'm not teaching, and I'm teaching, but who wants to sit through 2 hours of teaching? You don't want to pay the price for knowledge. That is the problem. The truth shall set you free, but you don't want to pay the price. La verdad os hará libre, pero tú no quieres pagar el precio. Esa es la parte que no se dijo, ¿verdad? No te dijeron ese. Jesús no lo mencionó. Jesus didn't mention that, did he? You're not willing to pay the price. You're not willing to leave your church. You're not willing to move from where you're at. Right? But you are willing. If the crap smells crappy enough, you are willing to go. That's your hypocrisy in that. Usted no quiere moverse. Pero si la caca huele muy buena, pues entonces tú te mueves sin problema. Y eso es avisado a una organización, usted no está libre. So eso es número uno. So again, you have people who say that they're free, they think they have the truth, but they're tied into one ideology. They're tied into one denomination. They're frozen there. Oh, this is what, and you know, and you're reinforced by your leadership. Say you can't be listening to this, you can't be listening to that. Listen to that. If you have the truth, you are free. You don't have anything to worry about. See, the characterization of truth is that it's like the same with me. No one can move me into their belief system because I've been on a search for the truth, and I started when I was 8 years old. Yo estaba buscando la verdad a los 8 años de edad. So, yo apelé arriba para hacer el testimonio corto y recibí de arriba, punto, ya. So I appeal to the powers that be up high, and to be brief, I'm not going to give you my whole life story now, but to be brief, I got the response, case closed. Okay? Now, everyone else, though, is learning from books. Everyone else is learning from their churches. Everyone else is learning from their teachers. Right? See? Man, that's your problem. Okay? And then now you don't want to move because you're stuck. And you're not realizing that you are stuck. I was never stuck, thank the Lord. Yo nunca me estoqué, gracias a Dios. Porque yo no fui a los hombres, yo fui a Dios. See, I never got stuck because I went to God. I didn't go to man. I realized that man is flawed. So I had to cut to the chase because I'm the man too, you know. I had to cut that distance to get to the truth of the source of truth. Yo soy hombre también. Yo tenía que cortar esa distancia entre mí y la verdad de Dios. So yo fui directo al fuente. ¿Sí? Esos 8 años, eso es un cerebro de 8 años, ¿viste? See, that's the thinking of this 8-year-old. I know many 8 years old, or most 8-year-olds are not thinking that way, but this one did. I did. Muchos niños de 8 años de edad no piensan así, pero yo fui un niño que pensó así. Y gracias a Dios por eso. But now you guys need to at least realize where you are. And you can realize that by knowing the symptoms. What are the symptoms? Fear, number 1. El temor, número 1, es el síntoma de donde tú estés. Right? Porque tú no estás entendiendo. Entonces tienes temor. See? You don't understand, and that's why you have fear. But that's not what Jesus said. Jesus said, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you make you free, not make you fearful." See, but most of you are fearful because you don't know the truth. It's like math. And I know you guys don't like the math, but you know, math is it's what God created. Es como matemática. Matemática es lo que Dios creó. ¿Ve? Let me take the time in this lesson to show you some math. I'm going to show you that. Let's go to the board here. Let me go to the Zeit board again. We used this last week. Nosotros hicimos esto la semana pasada usando. So let's go to the classic mathematical example. Let's go 2 plus 2 equals what? 5? 5? No. 4. Right? 2 y 2 son 4. Okay, eso lo sabemos. ¿Qué fue lo que dijo Cristo? Entonces, cuando tú quieres saber la verdad de cosas, usa la matemática. When you want to know the truth of certain statements and beliefs, you can use math. Use some math. Because you can't go wrong with this. See? ¿Qué dijo Cristo? Conocerá la verdad. Okay, I'm going to put V here. Voy a hacer un símbolo para que sea en inglés y español. I'm going to make a symbol between the first letter of truth in Spanish and the first letter of truth in English, which is T. So I'm going to make this symbol. Okay. Voy a hacer este símbolo para representar conocerás la verdad, porque en inglés la verdad es truth, que empieza con T. So aquí tiene la combinación de T y B. Okay, vamos a hacer el tema más extenso. So we make the truth more extensive here. So, right? So conocerás, and we'll put this like that. Conocimiento, and in English this C would be cognitive, right? You shall know the truth, and yes, let's use the word cognitive. You'll be cognizant of the truth. Que conocer, okay? So it's knowing. You shall know the truth, right? And we'll just put that, and the truth y la verdad y la verdad os hará, which is like equal, and the truth shall make you, means that with equals, free, que es libre, right? Right, que es libre, and I'll just combine those two here just for the sake of understanding on both languages. Sí, y la verdad os hará libre. Hice OW ahí. All right. So let me try to erase this. Yeah, you go away. And os hará libre. Muy bien. So this is the math. So in order for you to be free, and para que usted sea libre, okay, esto es necesario. Eso es lo que tú necesitas, right? Para estar libre. So you have to know what freedom is. What is freedom? It is not a box. I'm going to draw a box, but it's not a box. You have to understand that. La verdad no es una caja que dibujé aquí. Pero mucha gente lo ven como la caja donde están la iglesia, la religión, donde se encuentran, su comodidad. No. That's what you're comfortable with. When people see freedom as where they are, where they're comfortable at. No, freedom is not where you're comfortable at. Freedom is not where you're comfortable at. Because if you're comfortable somewhere, you're really not free. You're staying there. You're stuck. You're just okay with it. Cuando tú estás estoqueado en un lugar, pero está bien con eso, estás cómodo, pues entonces tú estás cómodo, pero no estás libre. ¿Sí? Bueno, cuando tú estás libre, tú sales y tú encuentras, descubras, está muchas veces sin comodidad. Many times when you're exploring and go out there, you are uncomfortable at times because you're not in your comfortable place. But most people's comfortable place of comfort, is not freedom. It is actually enslaved. Because most people feel better if the food is brought to the table. See, most people feel better where they are served, where they are housed, where they know what to do every day. And the people who knew what they had to do every day, where they lived every day, what they ate every day, you know what those people are called? They're called slaves. La gente que conocían donde vivían cada día, lo que iban a comer todos los días, y lo que tenían que hacer todos los días, esa gente se llaman esclavos. Esclavos. Fíjese lo que dice la oración. Look at what the prayer is. We thank God for our daily bread. Our daily bread. Some people look at the daily bread as the bread they get every day. But the daily bread is not that. Your daily bread is the food that you able to gather and get every day. Not that it's brought to you, that you're fed with by the man, or by the prison master, or by the slave master, or whatnot. That's not the daily bread, right? That's your slave bread. El pan cotidiano no es el pan de la prisión, del maestro de prisión, no es el pan del maestro, el amo de los esclavos. Hay gente que piensa que el pan de cada día es lo que está suministrando otro. No, eso tú das gracias al amo. For that you give thanks to the slave master. He's the one who gave you the bread. And you give thanks to the prison master because he's the one who gave you the food and let you go and have lunch. Most of you, we learn this because we go to school and they give us lunch, right? That's not our daily bread. Because you didn't earn that lunch. That's like given to you because you are enslaved in this building for 8 hours a day or 5 hours a day, whatever it is. That's not your daily. That's not what Jesus is calling the daily bread. The daily bread is what they had to go out to get, to fish, to hunt, to earn. That's your daily bread. Santo Dios, what God gives you strength to do and to go out and be able to purchase or trade to feed your family with, to grow in the wheat, to then make flour and to make the bread. This is your daily bread. Santo es el Señor. So, el pan de cada día es lo que tú puedes salir a ganar, salir y encontrar, salir y fabricar, salir a vender, salir a criar o crecer en tu finca, en su jardín y venderlo, procesarlo, vender eso y hacer, coger la harina, right? Y moler harina con los granos que ha crecido y hacer el pan. Ese es el pan cotidiano, ese es el pan de cada día. Se hace en la libertad. Okay, so the daily bread is made, it's gained and gotten from a free lifestyle, not from a slave lifestyle. No de una vida de esclavitud, donde otro es que te busca la comida, donde otro es que te compra la comida, que te sirve, que te cocina, etcétera, etcétera. Eso es la mentalidad de esclavo. So when somebody else is bringing you the food and someone else is serving you the food, someone else is cooking you the food, this is the slave mentality. That these things are being given and provided to you. It's not that you earn them, you provide. It's different, of course. If you're a millionaire, you have a servant, they're serving you your own food. You brought that and you're paying him his salary and paying him his food. So it's a different thing. When I say serve you, I mean people are just sitting around waiting for other people to give them something to eat. That's not your daily bread. You're not going to say, oh, thank you, God, for the daily bread. Get off your butt. Do something for the guy who gave you that food and go and keep getting your bread. That's your daily bread. It's still waiting for you to get. El pan tuyo no es lo que te dio otro. Tienes que levantarte levántate y gana algo para pagar a ese que te dio eso y seguir buscando para su propio bienestar. Ese es su pan de cada día. Pero lo mismo se puede entender también lo que la verdad, porque la verdad es así también. La verdad, si tú no eres libre, si tú estás estoqueado en un sitio, tú no estás libre. Tú no estás libre. La libertad más o menos un círculo, o sea que global. So we do the circle. And if you find that you are stuck in a place and you are closed-minded, then you are not free. Entonces tú no estás libre. Si tú no estás libre, entonces 2 and 2 here is not 4, it's something else. You got a different number here. So let's say the number you have is 6. Vamos a decir que el número que tiene es 6. Eso no es el 4. No, entonces no eres libre. Pero si no eres libre, if you're not free, that means that you don't have this. Something here is wrong. Algo aquí está mal. Either you don't know the truth. Puede ser que tú no conoces la verdad. O puede decir que tú no estás haciendo la verdad. Aplicando la verdad. Dejando que la verdad obra. Sí, porque son dos cosas, ¿no? En este ejemplo matemático. Now, let me make it a little better, because a little more faithful to what Jesus said. Vamos a hacer esto más fiel a lo que dijo Jesús, porque esto yo no preparo estas cosas de antemano. So vamos a hacerlo más fiel a lo que dijo Cristo. And this is what's really more faithful, because then it helps with this explanation. So let's make this more bigger here. Knowing. And you shall know the truth. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free, right? So it's because you know this that you are made free. Porque tú conoces la verdad os hará libre. So, esto es. So, la cosa es esta. Si tú no eres libre, entonces, tiene que ser uno de dos cosas. There has to be one of two things. Either you don't know the truth, y aquí debe tener esto también, right? So it should be, you shall know the truth. Conocerá la verdad. Right? Either you don't know the truth. El primer problema, quizás tú no conoces la verdad. So ese es el primer problema. Quizás tú no conoces la verdad. ¿Qué es lo que le falta? Sí, porque si tú no conoces la verdad entonces no puede obrar en tu vida para hacerte libre. So if you don't know the truth cannot work in your life to make you free. So that's the issue. Because this is the indication. Esto es la prueba que uno está libre. Right? This is the test. If you have the truth, are you free or not? And it's not free according to your belief. Y no es libre de acuerdo a su creencia. Es libre en verdad. It's free indeed. Free indeed. That means truly free. Means you're not limited. Quiere decir que no está limitado. So you cannot feel that you're limited in some way. These religions will limit you. Las religiones te van a limitar. Porque por naturaleza la religión es restrictiva. El conocimiento de la verdad es libertad. No libertinaje, pero es libertad. So the knowledge of the truth is freedom, not caprice. You know what caprice is? It means that you do anything you want to do. No. You have knowledge. Remember, it's knowledge. The truth is knowledge based. And whenever there is knowledge, there is self-control. Cuando hay conocimiento, el conocimiento no es capricho. Porque capricho es falta de conocimiento, en fact. Pero cuando hay conocimiento, quiere decir que el que tiene capricho hace lo que le da la gana. Y no le importan las consecuencias. O sea, no está pensando. Pero entonces no tiene conocimiento. El que tiene conocimiento tiene autodisciplina, control. ¿Sí? So, el que tiene conocimiento de la verdad tiene disciplina. No que hace cualquier cosa a capricho, pero tampoco es limitado. So it's not, he doesn't do anything he wants to do. He is limited by his knowledge. He knows. Right? But he's not restricted. That's a different thing. So a lot of people are in beliefs that are restrictive. It's not the truth. The truth is only knowledge that should restrict. The knowledge of the truth is the only thing that should control you. Okay? I can get into more details into this. Go back to the Garden of Eden to prove the point. But I don't have to. It's enough of what I said. It's just simply, if you have the symptoms, or if your faith has the symptoms that, and so you have to self-diagnose it. You have to self-diagnose. If you can't stand to listen to this is your test here. Esta es la prueba aquí. This is the litmus test. You can't stand 2 hours with me here challenging you. Then you don't have the truth. Because I don't have a problem listening to all the videos people send me all the time. Oh, but look at this guy says this and that. And I watch the video and I see so many mistakes and errors in reason. And you guys are saying you're propping that guy up like he knows something. Come on. Oh my goodness. And then when I point out to you where the mistakes are made, you hear the crickets chirping. Me dan video de este dijo este sabe más que tú, mira, él dice esto, bla, 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 y yo lo oigo y le enseño los errores que hizo, pum, 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 y después no se oye más nada, sino ¿cómo se llama eso en español? Lo que hacen ruido de no, chi, no se oye nada, desaparecieron, porque ese es el problema. La verdad le duele, no le gusta la verdad, no quieren pagar el precio para la verdad. Entonces los que pagan, nosotros que pagamos el precio para la verdad, entonces somos vituperados. So those of us who pay the price for the truth, then we're the ones getting attacked. Yeah, look at you, no one's listening to you, no one's watching your channel. Nosotros, nadie te está mirando, nadie te está escuchando. Bueno, mijo, Jesus had 12 disciples, man. You got to give guys like us a break. Jesús solo tuvo 12 discípulos. Tienen que darnos a nosotros un break, chicos. So what you gonna do with that? La gente es demasiado de ignorante, oye. Los que tienen la verdad no tienen muchos, porque la verdad duele. The truth hurts. You're going to be having thousands of people watching me. Usted no va a tener miles de personas mirando lo que yo enseño. Esto duele, chicos, esto duele. That's the real. You got to realize, Jesús 12 discípulos, mira, un mega iglesia. Entonces ahora los pastores se echan, yo tengo miles, este tiene 10. Yo estoy en una iglesia, entonces los feligreses son peores. Pero entonces, yo estoy en una iglesia, tenemos 10,000 personas, como si ellos fueran el que salió a buscar los 10,000 vagos, ni uno han conseguido para el Señor. Hipócrita. Descansando sobre el trabajo de otro. Eso es lo que es. Yo estoy en la iglesia no tiene nada que ver que tú te escondes entre 10,000, porque tú no tenías nada que ver con esa sembrada, ¿ok? So, no venga con eso. Oye, en mi iglesia tenemos 300, tenemos 3,000, tenemos 30,000. Tú no hiciste nada para eso. Yo sé, porque yo he visto todos los años en la iglesia la gente que viene, no hace nada, se van, no hace nada, están sentados en una iglesia grande. Mi iglesia tiene estado, ¿y qué importa? Si tú hiciste ni peo, nadie hiciste. You did nothing in that church, and yet my church, we got so many. Well, not because of you, not because of your work. What did you do? All right. Enough for that. That was for somebody out there. You know who you are. Eso fue para alguien allá afuera. Usted conoce quién tú eres. All righty. Let's go into the scripture. Holy. It's our topic. Last week we left off at if a man eat of the holy thing unwittingly, unknowing, el que comiera de la cosa santa sin conocer. See? We talked about the fifth part. We used that, right? That 20% is a part thereof, and you can take it either way. For now, because we're not doing the specific study in this, I also explained that to y'all. I'm not doing the specific study into the specific ritual. We're going to do that when I go do it. But it's not now in the Holy Series. Right now we're just dealing with how the word is used, how holy is used, and we're just lightly looking at the verse. We're not really going in to explaining the fifth part is of this part or is of the whole part. We're going to do that when we get back into it. And the fifth part thereof unto it. Añadir la quinta parte de eso a aquello. And shall give it unto the priest with the holy thing. So dará eso al sacerdote con lo santo. O sea, lo que no comió. Lo santo. So the part that he didn't eat is the holy thing. And we talked about what this fifth part actually means. Why was it the fifth part? Nosotros explicamos por qué era la quinta parte. También se usó matemática. We had to go and do some mathematics here as well, right? Because again, the math will help. It's a fifth part. Automatic means math class. Cuando se mencionó la quinta parte, automáticamente es una llamada a la clase de matemática. Leviticus 22:15, el 22:15. And the funny thing I also want to mention, now that we're here, that have you noticed this? Look up here in the corner here. Mira aquí en la esquinita. Notice something. And if you can look at all of these guys here, all of these references to holy in the Bible, toda esta referencia a santo en la Biblia, fíjase que la mayoría de las menciones de santo están en Levítico. Notice that the majority of the mentions of the appearances of the word holy is in Leviticus with 77. Oh, you see it, double sevens. Double sevens. No, take note of that. Estos son doble siete. El siete tiene significado. Okay? So, and Leviticus. So, let's go look at. Vamos a ver qué quiere decir Levítico. Okay, so let's look at that. Now remember, if you've been watching the Holy Series, remember, y si usted ha estado viendo esta serie está lleno de diamantes, okay? Oh, joyas, tremendo. Now look, Leviticus is Latin for of the Levites. That's what the book of Leviticus means. In Hebrew, I guess it's Wayikra. I'll probably get I can get it. I think I'll try the Blue Letter Bible. It's the third book of the Latin Vulgate Bible, the name of which designates its contents as a book or manual primarily concerned with the priests, members of the priestly tribe of Levi, and their duties. Levítico es el tercer libro de la Biblia Vulgata Latina, cuyo nombre designa su contenido como un libro o manual principalmente relacionado con los sacerdotes, miembros de la tribu sacerdotal de Leví y sus deberes. Recuerde cuál es el deber número 1 del sacerdote. Remember that teaching? What was the foremost duty of the priest? You're going to hear all sorts of answers. All you guys have all sorts of answers, but you remember that the priest was the most educated in the people. Among the people, the priest was the one, históricamente el sacerdote era el más inteligente en el pueblo. Conocía muchas cosas, ciencia, sobre mucho ciencia, porque involucraba la ciencia. En la antigüedad la ciencia era la religión, o sea, como había vacío en lo que es lo científico comparado con hoy día, ¿no? Mucho misterio, que esto, cómo trabaja esto, otro. Entonces la religión cupó o fue forjado mucho por ese vacío, de esa falta de conocer y el temor. Eso forjó la religión. El sacerdote era el que bregaba, hacía cosas con química, con polvos, y hacía espantos, porque conocía más de la ciencia y más de cómo las cosas trabajan, para entonces dar apoyo a las creencias que tenían. Muy científico, muy conocedor, muy sabios eran los sacerdotes. Incluso cuando nació Jesús, los tres magos. ¿Por qué se le llaman magos? Porque conocían mucha ciencia. Ya conocían ver las estrellas. Eran los que velaban estrellas y cosas, y para pronosticar el futuro y qué estaba sucediendo. Eran la gente más con más conocimiento en los tiempos respectivos. Y pues por historia, por necesidad, por necesidad, pues eran los maestros, los que sabían entre el pueblo. So these, the priests were the knowledge group. These were the people where they had knowledge. That's not even throughout into the Middle Ages. Aún hasta los tiempos medievales, que tú entiendes que los sacerdotes siempre, hasta muy reciente se puede decir, hasta muy reciente en los tiempos modernos, relativamente hablando, estamos hablando ya de casi 1000 años atrás, ahora al presente, ha cambiado poco, pero ya se va extendiendo en el secularismo o en lo secular, los genios, los conocedores, pero en los tiempos hasta los medievales y un poco más para acá, los que más sabían eran los sacerdotes de cualquier religión. Ellos eran los líderes del conocimiento y mayormente los maestros. Incluso que la Iglesia Católica es el fundador de las universidades. ¿Quién fundó la educación en los tiempos modernos? Era la Iglesia. So you can't debate that. It was the church, Roman Catholic Church. I'm not Roman Catholic, by the way, but I give credit where credit is due. Roman Catholic Church was the only big church around. They're the ones that gave us our higher education. So you have to, you got to have your history in line and understand that the priestly line is the one that has the knowledge here. Holy. 77 times. La palabra santo en el tribu de Leví, dirigido al tribu de los sacerdotes. 77 veces. Not just, it's just not the high number. It is the fact that it's 7 and 7. Who does that? ¿Quién hizo eso? ¡Ah, es un hombre! All right. So, but you have to understand, God is teaching. That's the whole point with this. The whole point of the priest. And the whole point of Leviticus this was the main manual. And from here, this is what they were going to learn so that they can be the teachers of the people. So that God was going to pay very close, put some details in here, and holy 77 times. Remember, that's a double. That's 2. 1 and 2. Remember what we talked about 2. Recuerda lo que enseñamos de 2. Cuando hay 2, uno es lo físico y el otro es lo espiritual. See, one is the physical and the other is the spiritual, because that's the original reality in Genesis 1:1. Right? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the existence. So you had God and then you have reality. Tuvimos Dios y entonces Él creó la realidad. Uno y uno. Físico, espiritual. So we have the physical and the spiritual, 1 and 1. That's your doubling. Whenever you see 2, you're mostly seeing something that's teaching this, or its truth, its basis is in this reality. So esa es la realidad. Son 2, 7 y 7. Kadosh, 7 veces en Levíticos, el libro para los sacerdotes, los que son los maestros del pueblo de Israel. So this is a teaching manual for the teachers of the children of Israel. Esto es el manual de educación para los maestros de los hijos de Israel. Y la palabra Kadosh 7 veces, infiriendo su aplicación física natural, como los judíos dicen que es, pero también su aplicación perfecta voluntad en lo espiritual, que lo rechazan. Los judíos rechazan lo espiritual del Torah. See, the Jews reject the spiritual part of Torah, right? They have their reasons. We always talked about that. They have their reasons, but it doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right. Okay, now, but still, God is saying with this 7 and 7 that there is a spiritual meaning. And we've been looking at that all throughout in Leviticus, the spiritual application. What is it? Which the Jews reject. But we're going to see it. Let's get into the class so you can see it. You're going to see it right here. Vamos a ir a la clase para que usted se den de cuenta. It's another time, right? You're going to see it again because you can't get away from what God is teaching. All right. Leviticus 22:15, they shall not profane the holy things of the children of Israel which they offer unto the Lord. They shall not make what empty. And this was the whole point, is not making the teaching empty, right? Todos estos puntos que estaba refiriéndose Dios, no vaciar la enseñanza, no dejar la enseñanza vacía de su enseñanza. That's what made the difference, right, between the daughter that had a child and the daughter who didn't have the child. It was the teaching. Era la enseñanza. All right? Leviticus 22:16, or suffer them to bear the iniquity of trespass. when they eat their holy things, for I, the Lord, do sanctify them. Vamos a ver esto en contexto. And say, and they shall not profane the holy things that offer unto the Lord, or suffer to be, and the Lord. Okay, so this is again is I'm going to read this in the Blue Letter Bible, 22:16, Leviticus 22. Okay, we have it here. Or to bear iniquity. So it says here. Let me hear this.
Strong's H5375. Nasa.
Nasa. And we're going to look at what the meaning of Nasa. Because again, Nasa is repeated twice here. And while that's loading, we have, okay, that's common, Nasa. Now, it's translated in the King James with up, or to lift up, to bear, take, carry away, born. In other words, to hold it, holding it, lifting it up, carrying it, armor bearer. Forgiving is also translated from it, which is absolutely right on the money. Very good. This is very good. I can tell you right now, this is very good because they actually have the right meaning for forgive here. But that's another lesson. El definición aquí dice aquí perdón, perdonar. Es muy bien apropiado. Eso es exactamente. Pero no es la clase de hoy, pero sí el perdonar es levantar, es llevar la carga de lo penoso, lo que se pasó. Okay, accept, exalt, regard, obtain, respect. So basically it is to take up. There is the understanding of lifting up, but there's also the understanding of possession and of taking. Okay, so that's the idea behind Nasar. So let's read it again. It says here to lift up or to take, to pick up. Them to pick up. Right? The iniquity, Aon, I believe it's called. Let's hear that.
Strong's H5771. Avon.
Oh yeah, I remember this Avon. I call this Avon. Avon. So we'll look at that also in its meaning. Again. Okay. So again, I remember this Avon thing. I always use Avon when I'm looking at that. So it's iniquity, it's the punishment, it's mischief, it's what it means, guilt. Perversity, immorality, whatever, mischief, punishment is the sin. It's the Avon. So it says to pick up. It says to pick up, to carry, to pick up or carry, and this continues from the previous sentence, right? Them to pick up and bury. So it's talking possessing twice. I like to separate these because it gives you a doubling. And remember what we've always talked about, the doubling, because it gives you meaning here. The sin. And let's see what this is. Is it
Strong's H819? Ashma.
Yeah, I was going to say asthma. So Hebrew isn't that hard. Okay, so asthma. And then we'll see that. Let's look what asthma is in Hebrew. Here we are. Asthma. Which is translated as trespass. That's what it says, sin, to offend, doing wrong. Okay, so again, it's picking up. It's the idea of picking up suffering, carrying on that weight, and ask them to carry on, had them to carry the sin and the weight of it, their trespass when they eat, and we'll take that for what it says. Kodesh. Let's look for the. Let's see how that's pronounced.
Strong's H 398. Achel.
Achel. Okay, when they achel. So let's read that. Achel. You guys should learn some Hebrew. It's fun. And after that, you can all go to achel. Okay, so to eat, to devour, to consume, to eat, devour, burn up, feed. Oh man, you can only imagine. I'm gonna say a joke now. Listen, I try to make this as lighthearted as possible. No offense to any Hebrews out there, but how did you come up with the word when it's you're eating? You're eating something. You must have been really sticking it in all the way to go. Forgive me. I don't make light of it. It just seems funny to me how you could develop some words for eating. And how do we get eat anyway? Eat. So it's also that's strange too. So they have the same right to make fun of English speakers. Eat. How do you get that? How are you eating something? How do you get that? How do you develop eating from eating actually? But ahal, I can see that. See, that makes more sense that ahal came from eating, but the thing is eating what? And how did you eat it? So that comes to mind. At least it's closer. It makes more sense, right? Así que estoy riéndome de la palabra en hebreo ahal, que tiene más sentido de ser desarrollado del acto de comer, que en inglés eat. Y también en español, comer. ¿De dónde tú sacas comer? Del acto de comer. Y en inglés, él saca la palabra eat del acto de comer. Ahora, ahal, si se mete algo bien adentro, ahal, es posible. Es más cercana a algo que puede suceder cuando alguien está comiendo. Eso tiene sentido. Eso de manera solo estaba haciendo ese punto. Alright, es just para tener ese alivio de tensión mental. Alright, just to alleviate your mental tenseness right now. Okay, and then obviously it's referring to eating, and then it goes into Kodesh. So obviously the idea is that you have the idea of carrying, and the idea of eating, and the idea of sin. So carrying the sin because of something that's being eaten, before something being eaten unwittingly, algo anteriormente que estaba siendo comido sin conocerlo, y ahora hacemos el peso del pecado sobre la gente por lo que están comiendo de Kodesh. For I, the Lord, Jehová Kadash, es el que hace santo. See? So again, separado. See that? I'm the one that makes them separate. So don't put on them the weight of the sin and of trespass for eating the separate, because I'm the one that makes them separate. It's nonsensical. Because that's not what it means. That's why. No tiene sentido que yo no le ponga el peso del pecado de comer lo separado, porque yo, Jehová Dios, lo separo. Eso es ridículo. Ahora entendemos, si es la enseñanza, ahora tiene sentido. Porque yo soy el que le enseño, yo soy el que lo estoy instruyendo. Esto es enseñanza. No le esté castigando, porque esto son cosas de enseñanza. ¿Sí? don't punish them, because these are things of teaching. These holy things are things that are supposed to be teaching them. So it's not an issue of punishing them for carrying the sin as trespass and having them, suffer. So again, suffer them to bear this trespass. Again, está hablando el nasar, which is to carry and carry. The fact is that, these are translations. They can argue that this is what it actually means, because this is interpretation. When I see the two nasars, it's two lifting ups. I see it as two lifting ups. One being physical, the law, the written Torah, and the other thing, or in other words, the transmitted Torah, the word itself, and the spirit of the word, or the spirit of the letter, as opposed to the letter that you see in the New Testament where Paul speaks about. Cuando tú ves en el Nuevo Testamento, que Pablo habla del espíritu de la letra. La letra mata, pero el espíritu vivifica. Está hablando de que hay un aspecto natural que mata, porque es la ley. En la ley se carga el pecado, porque violaste. Pero que el espíritu da vida, porque el espíritu es lo que enseña. ¿Sí? So, la letra es lo que mata, lo natural, y es lo que estamos hablando aquí de la perspectiva natural versus el perspectiva espiritual. So we're looking at the natural perspective versus the spiritual perspective. And the New Testament reference says that the Spirit gives life. The spiritual perspective brings us life, while the natural perspective is one of death. It gives us death because we don't get the life. See, the natural does not give us the life. It only gives us the penalty of sin, because of course it is violated. Siempre está violado lo natural, because we're all already wrong from the get-go. You see, in Genesis, it's not a story. It's telling you we're all wrong from the get-go. We're born in wrongness. Okay? Now, the Jews take the Genesis account, Adam and Eve, as a story. That's all. So that is the reason that now they just take the natural way of looking at Torah, and it fits with their natural narrative. El judío rechaza la historia, o lo que sea, lo que quiere decir que toman la historia de Adán y Eva como un cuento educativo, pero un cuento, no verdad. Y por eso el judío no consta con el pecado edénico, no cree en eso, sino cree que cada persona peca, y entonces a través de los sacrificios se les perdona sus pecados. Eso es lo que cree el judío, no que hay un pecado natal, que uno nace con pecado. Esa es la diferencia. Pero cuando uno toma Torah natural nada más, entonces no tiene lo espiritual. So that's the great debate. Eso es el gran debate aquí. El gran desacuerdo es si el Torah es espiritual o solamente se usa en lo natural. Ese es el gran debate. 7-7. Hay demasiado de mucha prueba, amigo. Y aquí en el hebreo en sí hay evidencias. Hay esto doble uso de la misma palabra. ¿Okay? Que tratan de darle otro significado, porque ya como lo dijo una vez, ahora esto quiere decir de otro modo, o cambiando de una persona. Esto era hablando del sacerdote, por ejemplo. So the first one, or suffer, is talking about the priest, that the priest shouldn't suffer that the children of Israel that they bear. See, so that's a way to look at this, because they would have to interpret it. And in the case, it's a matter of interpretation, not in clarity. It's not clear language. It's interpretive language. So, el hebreo aquí no es claro, es interpretativo. So, de hecho de que la opinión del sacerdote o del rabino sería que como dice aquí, que es que el sacerdote no cargue, que no cargue en sí esa pena de hacer que Israel cargue su pecado, en este aspecto, en comiendo las cosas santas, porque yo soy el que lo santifico. Ellos lo explican de esa manera porque lo tienen que hacer. See, they have to explain it this way because it's only natural. You can only be referring to natural things. They can't say, well, this is a spiritual taking up and the other one was a natural taking. They can't say that because that's not part of their allowance to go there. They can't go there. So this is why we have to be careful. Esa es la razón que tenemos que tener cuidado con las interpretaciones hebreicas, porque sencillamente solo van a tenderse a ser natural cuando hay indicación que debe haber también una explicación espiritual que ellos no lo reciben. So, that being said, this also has can be spiritual, have spiritual reckoning involved in this. And so what's the spiritual thing? The spiritual thing is where later, as we see in New Testament, is where the truth is at. See, that's the problem. En lo espiritual es donde está la verdad. Ese es el problema. El Nuevo Testamento se revela que las cosas espirituales son lo verdadero, lo natural no. Pero cuando dice la palabra natural, y es un judío, porque ellos son judíos, Pablo es judío, Pedro es judío, cuando están hablando de lo natural, están hablando de Torah. ¿Qué están hablando? You see, so you got to be careful, because la interpretación de Pedro y de Pablo y de cosas están basadas en el Torah natural. So you have to understand that when you see this natural reference in New Testament, Peter, Paul, talking about natural man, natural thing, they're talking Hebrew context, and natural is the way they interpret the law. So you have to understand. You cannot just say, oh, he's talking about other natural things. No. It's a Jew. He says natural. It's a direct inference, because there's no way he's not inferring the law, because he's talking about natural. And the rabbis teach to take the Torah and the Word of God, the Devarim, as natural, in its natural sense. So the impact, the directness of the way the New Testament handles the natural things is very clear. Es muy claro como el Nuevo Testamento habla de lo natural. Es muy relevante. And when tú mira entonces, realiza que Dios muchas veces usa el doble, la palabra doblemente. Right? No se puede excusarse de otro modo. Ya lo vimos con el Shabbat. We saw it already in the way he used it with the Shabbat. It's used it twice. And then the King James Bible says, so, for the first one, so, come on. You see, you're missing it. They're not able to handle these double references. Here you can look at it both ways. It is feasible that if you look at it in a natural way, the way it reads naturally, that there's two people here. There are the priests, and then there's the children of Israel. So that one of the Nasar belongs to the priest. He's carrying something. And then the other nasar belongs to the people. They're carrying something. So that's very, very apparent. And, that could be. But it can also be that underlying general truth that when you have the doubling, one is the spiritual and the other is the physical. It also works here. It also works here. Because it's talking about the teaching. Remember the key here is the holy. See, if holy means what the Jews say that it means, then it's okay. Because everything is natural. You see that? So the separateness is the holy things. So it's see how it works. And that interpretation would follow. Si las cosas están aquí como hace el judío, que todo es natural, pues entonces lo santo es natural, es el respeto y lo separado. Y entonces pues presta más a la interpretación natural, presta más. Pero si santo es enseñanza, pues entonces no. Entonces, aunque lo toma de esta manera, de que uno es al sacerdote, el otro es al pueblo de Israel, todavía el problema es que santo está refiriéndose a la enseñanza. Y la enseñanza es la verdad. Y la verdad es lo espiritual, no lo natural. So that's where your problem is. O sea, sí, el problema es que lo espiritual es donde está la verdad. Y si las cosas santas es las cosas verdad, la verdad, entonces la duplicación, o sea, el doble nazar aquí que se menciona, uno debe ser espiritual y el otro físico, porque está refiriendo a la enseñanza. ¿Sí? Está refiriendo a la enseñanza, uno físico y el otro espiritual. Entonces, ese es el punto que quiero enfatizar. All right? Que lo que se está viendo en el idioma de hebreo, eso es el problema. El contexto hebreo es que no hay lo espiritual. So, eso es lo que tienen que entender la gente. La base cristiana es base espiritual, no natural. Cuando se quita lo natural, entonces seguro todos tenemos que ser Israel. Pero entonces, listen, if you're going to take away the spiritual, everyone needs to be Israel. But then you have the problem. Is a DNA. Entonces tenemos el problema de ADN. Si todos somos Israel, o sea, muchos de nosotros, no tienen que ser todos, y es imposible que todos sean. Pero si muchos de nosotros somos Israel, ¿por qué Dios no ha permitido el ADN comprobante? Eso es lo que Dios no es mucho de Dios. Que haya ADN, come on. So to ask that God make sure that Israel, the descendants of Israel, had some way to track the DNA to prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. Because I have no problem with that. I have no problem with many people being Israel. None. It'd be good for me too. But where's the DNA? It's like the lady in the commercial. Where's the beef? Where's the beef? We're talking about God here. We're not talking about Wendy's. We're not talking about McDonald's or anything. Where's the beef? We're talking about God. God wanting Israel to gather back together. So, hello, McFay, anyone home? Ese es el problema, que si es Dios que quiere hacer esto, Dios está haciendo esto y aquello, y todo el mundo es Israel, pues ¿dónde está el ADN? Esto es Dios. Vamos a hablar claro. ¿Qué hay difícil para Dios en ese aspecto? There shouldn't be anything. Pero no se encuentra. Hello, no se encuentra. So it's not a thing, because it's just simply not had. If this was the way it was supposed to be, that people were children of Israel, many nations, and etc., and that had to be a point for salvation, then DNA has been discovered. Let's see how long ago. Vamos a ver algo aquí. Vamos a ver cuántos años atrás. When was DNA discovered? Estoy preguntando a la computadora cuándo fue descubierto el ADN. Vamos a ver. Mira esto. Desde el 1860. Come on. 1860. We're in 2023. Come on. Please. En todos estos años, in all these years, we still don't have a proof of Israel through DNA. Come on. No tenemos prueba de Israel en ADN, please. It should have been in 1860. Okay, maybe not in 1860. 1900, 40 years later. Maybe 1980. Come on. 1980 quizá. Come on. Que ya se descubre el ADN de Israel y estos son Israel. Son los tribus perdidos. ¿Y qué encontramos hoy día? Historias, cuentos. No tenemos ADN. Entonces, ¿qué quiso Dios? Dios quiso que la gente descubriese el ADN que son Israel, o es por la fe. Esa es la pregunta que yo hago siempre. Is it not by a DNA, or is it by faith? Because then comes the problem, isn't it? Es el problema, ¿no? See, what was the intention of God? If it's by faith, well, you had faith in Jesus. Usted tuvo ya la fe en Jesús. ¿Y qué hiciste? So, esto es problemático. That's just a problem for a lot of them. That's a big problem. All right, so let's continue. Again. And Leviticus 22:32, we've done this. We've seen this a while already. Neither shall ye profane, make empty my holy name. The teaching name. It's his holy name. They would say that it's a teaching name. I'm sorry, that it's a separate name. It's a name that has to be kept separate. Yeah, Yahweh, Jehovah, however. It is something that is to be hallowed among the children of Israel. I am the Lord which hallow you. See? So again, hallowing is making separate, and then his name is separate, right? So it says, let's say his name was separate. What does that have to do with Israel? That they were separate, right? See, and then this goes to what the Jews consider themselves as being a separate entity. They're the only ones that God is interested in. They're the only ones God is saving and all that. We have this going on. Tenemos esto que solamente los judíos son los que Dios está salvando. Solamente los judíos son los escogidos de Dios, right? Son los escogidos de Dios. Pero no quiere decir que son los únicos que Dios no los creó solamente. You got to realize God didn't create them alone, did he? And who are they? They came from whom? From the same place we all came from. El judío vino de quién, de dónde, que Dios no lo creó en el jardín de Edén, viene donde todos nosotros venimos. So, do you serve a just God or a biased God? Let me ask. You ask you. I'd like to hear you answer that question. Do you serve a just God or a biased God, an unjust God? So tell me. Porque sería injusto que Dios crea a todo el mundo, crea a Adán y Eva, pero entonces solo escoge unos pocos. Eso no es justo. Eso no es justo. You don't see that in the Bible. Tú no ves eso en la palabra de Dios. Cuando Noé fue predicó a todo. When Noah, God told Noah to build the ark, he preached to all the world. He preached to everyone. It wasn't just him and his family. Him and his family were the only ones going to go. Right? But he didn't limit it to them. Él no lo limitó a ellos. Y Noé nunca pensó que él era el único que iba a ir con su familia, porque estaba predicando 120 años. So for 120 years he would go and tell people, this is what's going to happen. You guys getting to save yourself. Come, be part of this. Come into the ark. You know, la gente no creía. That's all. That's what you see there in Noah's Ark. You don't see just separate Noah. He's just separate, only his family. You don't see that. Usted no ve Noé solo y él se quedó solo y no hizo nada porque él era escogido de Dios. Ustedes son los que van a perderse, son los perros. Ustedes no se salvan. Eso no se ve en la historia de Noé. Sucedió, pero no se ve. No es lo que no sucedió por el acto de la gente, no por gusto de Noé, ni por falta de tratar de predicarles, tratar de avisarles por Noé. Eso no fue lo que sucedió. So the Noah's Ark issue shows you there wasn't his own work, his own non-doing of preaching that made everyone perish in the flood. It was their own refusal to hear God's message and God's messenger. They were laughing at him. Look at that guy. He's there. Yeah, he don't have any viewers. He's there. He's talking to himself. Ese era Noé, no tenía seguidores, nadie lo estaba escuchando su video los domingos. So nobody was watching it. And he just kept building his ark. Praise God. So solamente se mantuvo haciendo su arca. Pero no es por culpa de que se perdieron todo el mundo. But you see the difference in the Jew. The Jew, not to criticize the Jew, I'm just showing you as a psychotherapist, how when you think a certain way, you do things in a certain way. And the way of looking at Torah in a natural way, and that you're the only chosen, the particular treasure of God, then that means to you, and you take holy as being separate, but it means that you're the only ones. Right? And so if that was true with Noah, then he wouldn't have preached 120 years. Because there's no reason to. Pero usted no ve ningún judío predicando a los gentiles. Ninguno. El judío se queda en sí. Yo soy judío, ustedes no son, ustedes son perros. Esa es la actitud que viene de tomando las cosas en lo natural. Y no entendiendo que hay algo espiritual. No entendiendo que lo santo no es separado y crea un espíritu de separación, sino que lo santo es enseñanza y hay que enseñar a alguien. El reino de sacerdote y una nación santa tiene que enseñar a alguien. So you see, when there's separation, there's no need to be a kingdom of priests, because who are you being a priest over? And there's no need to be a holy nation, because who are you being a teacher to? Right? Because we know that holy means teaching. ¿Saben que los santos quiere decir enseñanzas? ¿A quién? Si tú eres el único. If you're the only one. You see that? So you see everything. That's why I kept noting to you guys that the word holy is the key. And it's the key to a lot more than just this Jewish distinctiveness. It's to a whole lot more. This is really an important series, and you really need to look at all of it to get all of this information in, because it's a lot. Tienen que ver todo. It's more than 80. Now it's going to hit 90 hours of teaching already in this subject. So ya estamos entrando 90 horas de enseñanza en este enseñanza. All right. So now we get into the nitty gritty. Ahora entramos en lo bueno. Vamos a ir ahora al Levítico 23:2. Leviticus 23:2. Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Esto es, viejo. Oh, wow. Mira esto. Okay, so habla a los hijos de Israel y diles, en cuanto a las fiestas solemnes del Señor, las cuales proclamaréis como santas convocaciones. See that? You know, here you go again. You know what's happening is very, you know, it should be clear to you guys. Why is God saying that these are, you know, that you have to proclaim this as a holy convocation? Why? ¿Por qué tiene que el Señor decirle que ustedes proclamarán como convocaciones santas? ¿Por qué? I mean, ¿quiénes son los que están haciendo esta llamada, esta convocación? ¿Quiénes son los que lo están administrando? Who's administering these things? Who is calling the people to gather together? Who is it? ¿Quién es que está llamando a la gente a unirse para este propósito? ¿No son los sacerdotes? Aren't these the priests that are calling the people to gather? And what is they going to gather to? A sinful, lustful party of debauchery and drinking? ¿Qué le va a estar convocando los sacerdotes? Una fiesta de bebida y de desnudez y toda cosa inmundo. Se supone que si los sacerdotes están llamando a la gente, convocar, es llamarlos juntos, con voz, convocar. Ven, llamando a la gente a congregarse. Greg quiere decir gente. So, con gente. Congregarse, unirse con la gente, con unirse juntos. Convocar es juntarse a voz, o sea, a reunirse, es llamando, convoca, llamando a la gente. El único que tenía derecho a llamar a la gente eran los sacerdotes. Y si los sacerdotes están llamando a la gente en esta fiesta, que dado a que los sacerdotes lo solemnizan, pues entonces no son santos por ende, por naturaleza. No son cosas de los sacerdotes. Aren't these things that the priests are calling, aren't they just holy, just on the face of it? Aren't they supposed to be holy? So the issue here, the reason I'm pointing this out, is that you see this emphasis. Usted ve este énfasis de que Dios hace en usando la palabra santo. We're in Leviticus, of course. And we already saw that there's 77 instances. Ya hemos visto que hay 77 veces que la palabra de Dios usa santo, que Dios usa santo en Levítico, en el libro de Levítico específicamente, la instrucción a los sacerdotes. So, entonces está diciendo que estando en énfasis, tiene que ser, porque allí hay algo que es difícil o que es algo que tiene que ser enfatizado. Now, otra vez, si tú lo ves natural, usted va a decir, no, es separado, esto son fiestas separadas. Siguen con esa separación, porque, again, está basado en temor, el temor de violar la ley de Dios. Son santos porque para no violar la ley de Dios, pero se está perdiendo el significado de estas cosas. So if you look at it with the teaching in mind, you speak unto the children of Israel. Let's look at it. Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them concerning the feasts of the Lord. They're the feasts of the Lord. They're not the birthday party. It's the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. So, again, he already said they were the feast of the Lord. The emphasis is that these are holy convocations. So all I'm saying here is that this added emphasis on the holy convocation is something that's obviously holy. It is the feast of the Lord, called by the priests. You don't know this is holy, right? This is a part of our ritual feast. He said, "You shall proclaim to be holy convocation." Okay, that means that the convocations, these things are under the label of being holy. He's giving the emphasis that these are wholly underlined because they are already assumed to be holy. Están asumidos a ser santos porque se asume que sean santos. Pero está haciendo énfasis Dios que son convocaciones santos. So the question is, why is he doing that? ¿Por qué está haciendo Dios esta definición más allá? Que debe ser ya claro, evidente, pero está haciendo un énfasis. Okay? So here we see that God is being emphatic. They're emphatically holy. Okay? And all I'm saying is that to say that they're holy just for the sake of that they're separate is redundant. It has to be that it's saying something of a different nature. Tiene que ser, ¿cómo se dice? Redondo, no, redundante o de más. Decir que son convocaciones separadas, porque son fiestas del Señor. ¿Qué va a hacer? So, es obvio que si es una fiesta de Dios, fiesta del Señor, que son santos, pero él además está añadiendo que serán proclamados convocaciones santas, santa convocación. So, está siendo enfático Dios con este término santo, que también en el libro de Levítico 77 veces más que en otro libro de la Biblia. So this is the point, que hay algo aquí más allá. So obviously there's something more to it than just that. It has to be something more to holy than just separate. Tiene que ser algo más allá a lo santo que solamente separado. So we've seen this in many verses. So the holy convocation, again, if they're teaching, is telling you that the feast, according to holy being a teaching, it's a teaching in nature. It's not separate, it's teaching. But it's telling you that the feasts of the Lord are teaching. They're teaching things. They're not just separate rituals to be done without knowing what the spiritual significance is. Así que no deben ser estas fiestas hechas sin conocer lo que son, lo que es el significado, la enseñanza relacionada o relativo a la fiesta. Y cada fiesta tiene su enseñanza. Eso es lo que lo hace santo. Y eso es lo que está. Israel siempre tenía este problema. Como siempre era natural, no percibían la verdad espiritual, el significado de estas cosas. Y por eso cuando vino Jesús nadie conocía. Nadie estaba esperando el Mesías, y cuando llegó Jesús no lo conocía. Por esta razón. For this reason, they didn't know when Jesus came what the significance was. They did not recognize him. No lo aceptaron. They did not accept him. No lo reconocieron tampoco. Yo intercambié eso, so they're mixed up. If you're trying to learn Spanish, I just messed you up real bad because I switched up. I said one thing first and the other thing in Spanish, then that other thing in English, and the other previous thing. Well, whatever. It was just a bad moment for you. Okay. Now let's go to Leviticus 23:3, and with this we'll end today. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest. You got to see what it says there, right? And then it says, and holy convocation. Okay? So, again, aquí dice, 6 días se trabajará, mas el séptimo día es sábado de reposo, santa convocación. See that? So the Sabbath has always had its own spot. It's the seventh day. It's the Sabbath day. Okay? And it says to keep it holy in the Ten Commandments. En los 10 mandamientos dice para santificarlo. Here, though, to the priests, it doesn't repeat that instruction. It's telling them different, that it is a holy convocation. You're calling them under the guise of holiness. In other words, that this whole issue of Sabbath is holy. But it's something that priests already knew, right? If by the Ten Commandments. I mean, who doesn't know that? ¿Quién no conoce eso por los 10 mandamientos, que el sábado es santo? Pero Dios está en la instrucción a los levitas, al sacerdote, es que es una convocación santo. It's a calling to teaching. It's a teaching. It's a calling for teaching. See that? So it's not, even if the people of Israel took holy as being separate and all that, okay, fine and dandy, but he's not telling the priest to do that. Él no está diciendo, vamos a decir que, para el pueblo de Israel, que iban a entender que lo santo es separado. Pero él no está diciendo esto a los sacerdotes. Él está diciendo que esto es una convocación a santo. Está diciendo una cosa un poco distinta. We're looking at it that way. I know that, but that's what you're putting it in there. It just says what it says. It's holy convocation. It's just the convocation is holy, right? But we already did what holy means. We already went into that. We discovered that holy, God didn't give you what holy meant. You assumed it. We already established that. He did give you what holy meant, but you guys don't notice it. I noticed it. Right? Dios dio lo que era santo, pero ustedes no lo cogieron. Ustedes asumieron como Moisés que santo quería decir lo que quería decir a los amoritas, a los egipcios y a todo el mundo. Pero hemos descubierto que Dios le enseñó lo que era santo y no era lo que dicen que santo es. So aquí, yendo por la definición que Dios da, está diciendo que ustedes lo están llamando a enseñanza. Que el séptimo día es una convocación a enseñanza. Y eso es lo que es el Shabbat. Now, Leviticus 23:3, let's just look at the Hebrew to finish with that. Leviticus 23:3. Y aquí vamos a terminar con esto. We're going to end it here with this final analysis. Just because you always got to look in here. It says Yom Asa Laka Asa Yom Shevi'i Yom Shabbat, and it says Sabbaton. Now it's the Sabbaton is translated as rest 8 times and Sabbath 3 times. So it's the weekly Sabbath. El Sabbaton quiere decir el Shabbat semanal, right? So it's the observance. It's simply the observance, the observance of the Sabbath. So the day is the Sabbath of the observance of Sabbath. In other words, the Word of God is telling you that there is a meaning here, and they're not seeing it. They're translating it as rest, as one is. They're trying to make this the weekly Sabbath of the Sabbath. Right? Because even taking it that way, what does that mean? Taking it the way they are translating it, what does the weekly Sabbath of the Sabbath mean? It means exactly what we've been teaching you here for many of these past few years, actually. It means that the Sabbath, the weekly Sabbath, is a remembrance of Genesis chapter 2, verse 2 and 3. In other words, the seventh day. And the Sabbath that God did, that's what the weekly Sabbath is all about. It isn't the Sabbath, it is the remembrance of. Entonces, si vamos a traducirlo como lo traducen, lo que está diciendo es lo que nosotros hemos estado enseñando todos estos años. Y es que el sábado semanal es un recuerdo, no es el sábado, es un recuerdo del Shabbat. Que el Shabbat es único. It's telling you that the Sabbath is one day, it's one thing. And that occurred in Genesis 2, verses 2 to 3. Eso ocurrió en Génesis 2, 2 y 3. Eso es el sábado de los recuerdos de los sábados. Eso es lo que está directamente traducido. So that's what's directly translated from what is written. It isn't the Sabbath of rest. See, when you say that the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest, you see that's like one thing. Yet the scripture's saying two things. The Hebrew is saying exactly what we're teaching. El hebreo está diciendo exactamente lo que nosotros enseñamos. But that's not what you're seeing here. And that's not what people are doing. Y no es lo que la gente está haciendo tampoco. See? So the question is, are you going to follow the Hebrew? What God says in the Hebrew? Or are you going to follow what people are doing? So ustedes van a hacer lo que dice Dios en su palabra en el hebreo o van a hacer lo que la gente está haciendo. Pues esa es la pregunta. I would like to know what you guys are thinking you're doing. Porque no me van a decir que están haciendo lo que Dios dijo. No digan eso. Don't say you're doing what God said to do, because God said something different than what you guys are doing. Porque Dios dice algo diferente de lo que ustedes están diciendo. It's all because you don't have the right definition for holy. That's why this is happening. Y esto sucede porque no están traduciendo, nos conocen, traducir otra cosa, pero si no se conoce la definición real de la palabra Kodesh, entonces estos problemas surgen porque el que estaba supuesto a enseñar a las naciones eran los judíos, era Israel, pero no con su natural y obedecer Torah, pues no entendían. Y todo viene de ahí, todo viene de ese problemita, y todo esto se ha desarrollado sobre esa confusión, ese error. No hay confusión, porque para ellos no había confusión, sino es un error. It's an error that was made early on. And now everybody suffers for it. Todo el mundo está sufriendo. Porque no hay el conocimiento que debe haber. Que Cristo vino y para arreglarlo. And he did. But again, people are hard-headed. Jesús vino para arreglar todo este mes, pero la gente es tan duro de servir, son duros de cabeza y duro. Ahora tú estás viendo que el hebreo dice, right, Shabbatón, y el Shabbatón es semanal, lo que hace la gente semanal, pero ¿qué es Shabbat entonces? ¿Sí? Eso está diciendo exactamente lo que nosotros estamos enseñando, pero usted, ese es el problema que hay. No quieren la verdad. No quieren la verdad. Es incómodo. La verdad duele. Conocerá la verdad y la verdad os hará libre. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free if you let it. God bless you. And God keep you. Dios te bendiga a todos. Hasta la semana que viene. See you then.